Hi everyone, it's Danielle. Today is day 64 of my 100-day video blog challenge. It also happens to be my 1000th day of not having any sort of substance, no alcohol. I'm completely substance free in 1,000 years, 1,000 days, which is pretty exciting as a milestone. Every day I just take it day by day, and some days are definitely harder than others, but some days are really just beautiful and easy and in flow. And since it is such a significant marker for me, even though every day is just one day at a time, it caused me just to reflect a little bit about how different my life is, and I can share a little bit about where I was before I made the decision to eliminate alcohol from my life. I was working professionally in the city at that time. I was commuting almost 4 hours every day, getting in and out of the city to work, between the Long Island Railroad and subway, and long work hours, and then waiting for the next commuter train to get home. Like, it was just to get to the office. And then the stress of the job was very demanding. I worked in a very high pressure, competitive industry of digital ad sales and media ad sales, and partnership and contract negotiations, and business development. So while I enjoyed it and I was good at it, it was also extraordinarily high pressure. And that was also paired with being the mom of two almost teenage kids at the time that I really didn't get to see very much. And I was married at the same time. Also, that was a strained relationship because I think over the course of the years we just weren't seeing each other. So we kind of went like that, and it was more like we were roommates or coexisting, and we didn't really connect a lot. And instead of dealing with the stresses that I had, looking back, I think we tended to avoid that and pretend like everything was fine. Maybe we just thought everything was fine, because many people just don't really reflect as you're going through it and say, like, how could we be doing better? We were just getting through every day, existing. And when we talked, it was really more about like tactical execution stuff, and what needed to be done, or what plans we were doing, or what we were doing. And we renovated our home at the time, a complete gut and redo renovation, which was enormously stressful. And it's interesting because my therapist, while we were going through all of this, said, you know, couples that might be having some trouble do a combination of three main things, and that's have a new baby, get a dog, or renovate their house. So I thought that was really interesting. So we decided to renovate the house. Meanwhile, when we moved to the island, my main goal was to, work and pay off our mortgage and be able to take a step back from the high pressure of working. Maybe take something less stressful and less hours so that I could be more available for myself and have more interests, and also be more available for the kids. But the renovation and the way that our life was, and the expenses and cost of living, just was actually the antithesis of that. So like, there was no way I'd be working until I was 100 years old at the pace we were going. And then life throws a curveball at you, and I was laid off 2 weeks after my house was gutted. And that really sucked. Just added to the stress and added to the fighting. We had been fighting for years, but I think I was really unhappy with myself. And rather than deal with all of the real adult things, I had enormous self-loathing, and I was just avoiding. I was avoiding looking in the mirror and facing all of those hard things, and I was just increasingly drinking more and more. And it's so easy to justify, like, oh, it's just red wine. Oh, you know, if you had to deal with the day that I did, you would have some wine too at the end of the day. I deserve this. Or I'm home. What does it matter if I'm drinking? I'm not driving anywhere. I'm not hurting anyone. But what I finally came to realize is, like, I was hurting myself, and I was avoiding life, and I was avoiding making some really tough decisions that I had to address, because there was a lot of things that weren't working for me. And I think a lot of people do that. And it's a non-judgmental discussion, because everybody faces stuff and everybody deals with things differently. Not everybody has a problem. I mean, I definitely think I have enhanced sensitivity to it, because I just would, it would affect me very heavily, very fast. But that also increased with age. So I don't know if it changed, or if I changed, or what, but I just finally reached a point where it had to stop. It was not helping me, it was hurting me. It was really creating havoc for myself and for my family, and in fact, like, I just had no, it would suppress and anesthetize my feelings, the good feelings, the bad feelings. It would bring out the worst in me. I was avoiding life. And meanwhile, here I am, I was doing things to cleanse my body, with nutritional cleansing. I was doing things energetically to focus on healing, with all the Reiki work I was doing. I was doing therapy to talk through and focus on personal development. But yet at the same time, I was not really, I was trying to emotionally repress and not feel the things I was going through. So I made the decision to say, this is not serving me anymore. I need to stop this, and it's not, I need to go through the emotions. I need to feel it. I need to stop bottling up. I need to let it out, and really face the harsh realities of, like, whatever I had to face. If that meant having tough discussions about the state of my marriage, if that meant having tough decisions to make about finances, about my career choices, about how I can be a better parent to my children, about how I can create more work-life balance and do things that actually were enjoyable to me, because I was just living as a zombie. I felt completely dead and dark inside. And that was a really scary place to be. So I would just drink and go to sleep, because I didn't want to even deal with myself. I was trying to escape myself. And that doesn't solve anything. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't help heal. It doesn't benefit anything. And ultimately, to be a clear vessel and to make the best decisions, I had to be free of substance, and to have a clear head, and to have the ability to make decisions with a clear mind and an open heart, and learn to be able to have the solid foundation to make decisions and navigate through the consequences of those decisions, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. And if that didn't work out, then I can always course correct at that time. But I was just living in this stagnant state of darkness. It was like a whirl of, I call it like a vortex of darkness. It was terrible. And I think a lot of people find themselves there and they don't know how to get out. But I will say that when a friend offered to accompany me to, when I said I need help, I don't know, I've never knew life without drinking. It was always like part of my life, for celebrations, for sad times, for good times, for whatever. Alcohol was always a constant for as long as I can remember. So I I had to learn a new way to live and a new way to cope with hard times. So when I face bad news, my automatic response is not to like open a bottle of wine and to try to drown my sorrows, because the sorrows will still be there, but I'll just be feeling really sick, and I'll probably create more damage during my altered state, because people say and do things that they regret when they're under the influence. And I just decided it was too reckless, it was too much, I was losing too much, and I was too young to continue living like that. And I wanted to live. And when you live, there's the highs, and then there are the lows. But you have to have sobriety in order to be able to navigate it with clarity and to make the best decision possible with a clear mind. So that's what I decided to do. So fast forward to 1,000 days without a drink, and my life is entirely different. And it's been really challenging, but life is challenging with or without a drink. And I'm just so grateful for the fact that I learned a better way to live for myself, in that I have tools and a foundation of decisioning and managing those hard times and managing those joyous times without any reliance on outside substances. And I've also learned how to love myself and to make decisions and live with the consequences, which are in alignment with my greatest good and my highest good and what's being true to my heart. Because by avoiding life, I was also avoiding making decisions to stand up for myself. Even if I was the one doing it, I was selling myself short and just existing rather than living. So today, with 1,000 days, I celebrate life, I celebrate clarity, I celebrate sobriety, I celebrate gratitude. So much gratitude in my heart for my 12-step program, for my fellowship, for people in and out of the program who are part of my life, who have offered and let me support. It's all part of the journey of life. There is no ultimate destination. It's constantly journeying and who you choose to surround yourself during that journey. And is it going to be a difficult journey, or can it be less difficult and more beautiful? A little easier trek. So I keep striving for that beautiful easy trek, or easier trek, so that when I have to pass through some hard times, I've got a really solid crew and the proper tools with me to help me navigate through that. So I hope that this talk is helpful. I appreciate you listening. I wanted to share openly and honestly, and I have enormous gratitude in my heart. So thanks for being part of my life and part of my journey. I wish you peace and serenity. Thank you. Namaste.